When passengers can't hold their alcohol and start getting obnoxious, violent, and gropey, that not only puts the flight attendant's safety at risk, but also the safety of the entire flight. This drunk passenger on a Frontier flight groped female flight attendants and assaulted a male flight attendant. And they don't care if you're a male or female flight attendant. Once that liquid courage hits their system, it's all over until they sober up. Hey guys, I'm CrystalAmanda, and in today's video, I will be sharing 20 things passengers do that annoy flight attendants. Now, full disclaimer, I'm not a flight attendant, but you would think that I am with this long list. But I've witnessed almost all of these on various flights. And if you're a flight attendant watching this, feel free to add anything I missed in the comments. And I'll try to get through this list quickly, but we'll see. So without further ado, let's get into these flight attendant pet peeves. Starting off with greeting flight attendants when boarding and deplaning. Like good morning, hi, hello, good evening, good night, thanks, have a good day, a wave, a smile, something. Número dos, when passengers ask flight attendants to help put their luggage in the overhead bin. For those who don't know, flight attendants are not responsible with helping passengers with their luggage. Technically, they're not on the clock until the cabin doors close. Because if they get hurt while trying to lift your bag and throw out their back or hurt themselves in the process, they're not eligible for workers' comp. However, if they do offer to help, because some do, that's on them and they probably use their discretion on who they help. So you're better off asking a fellow passenger to help with lifting and taking down your luggage if you need help. Next is when passengers squeeze or not properly stow their luggage in the overhead bin. Some aircrafts actually have a diagram inside the overhead bin that illustrates how to stow your bag. The bin doors must be able to close, so you can't just leave your bag sticking out and think that's okay, because it's not. And if it's your luggage, the flight attendants will put you on blast when they ask whose luggage it is, and will ask you to either fit it properly, or if it doesn't fit, you'll have to take it down and they'll check it at no additional cost. The next FA pet peeve is when passengers use the lavatory right before takeoff. Please use one of the many restrooms in the airport before boarding, or wait until after takeoff when the seatbelt sign goes off. Next is when passengers interrupt or are disruptive during the safety demo. Whatever you need or have to say, it can wait, of course, unless it's an emergency. But if you're on the phone or talking to your seat neighbor, stop, hang up, and pay attention until the safety demo is complete. Next is when passengers ask what the drink options are when it's their time to order. A menu is in every backseat pocket on the plane, and an announcement is made about it before takeoff. It's there for passengers to review and be prepared when the food, snacks, and drinks are being served. Next is when passengers take it upon themselves and grab things off the drink cart. If you need something, just ask a flight attendant or press your call bell. They are there to help us. Speaking of the drink cart, this next pet peeve is not only for flight attendants, and that is a drunk passenger. When passengers can't hold their alcohol and start getting obnoxious, violent, and gropey, that not only puts the flight attendant's safety at risk, but also the safety of the entire flight. This drunk passenger on a Frontier flight groped female flight attendants and assaulted a male flight attendant. And they don't care if you're a male or female flight attendant. Once that liquid courage hits their system, it's all over until they sober up. There was also a drunk passenger on a Russia flight that got aggressive with flight attendants, passengers, and even tried to break into the cockpit mid-flight. Take a look.
What is this job?
As you saw from the clip, some brave passengers eventually tackled him and got him taped to a seat. There was another drunk passenger who was trying to deplane before they opened the cabin doors. He became unruly and ended up assaulting a flight attendant. Luckily, the pilot was out of the cockpit and witnessed it and was able to restrain him. Take a look at the clip.
Sit down. Sit down. Enough. You don't put your hands on my flight attendant. Enough. Yep. You hear me? And whatever you do is going on Facebook And you're a complete loser.
Sadly, there are many, many more drunk passenger stories that I can do an entire video on that alone. So I just want to take this time to give a shout out to flight attendants and brave pilots who dealt with drunk passengers, because that's not easy. And to those who drink, please wait until you get to your hotel or home or wherever you're traveling to get drunk. Because yes, not only will you most likely end up getting arrested and charged, but you could also put the entire flight at risk. And remember that you get drunk faster at high altitudes, so pace yourself when ordering drinks. Then there's the irate passenger who gets violent with whoever stands in their way. Take a look at these two passengers throwing punches at flight attendants. I know flight attendants are trained for all kinds of onboard scenarios, but that doesn't always guarantee their safety and the safety of others. There's also those who attempt to open emergency exit doors mid-flight and kick out windows. And like the drunk passenger, unfortunately, there's a lot of irate passenger stories that I can do an entire video on. Next is not saying thank you after being served. When someone performs a service for you, the polite thing to say is thank you or thanks. It's really not that hard, unless you're deaf or blind, then that's an exception. Next is waiting until the drink cart passes you to then ask for something. If you see the drink cart coming and want to rest your eyes before it reaches you, don't do that. Because if you doze off and wake up after the cart passed your row, don't call or wave at the flight attendants to get their attention, because they're not going to backtrack with the cart. Wait until they're done with everyone, then press your call bell. Next is hanging around in the galley area. The galley is not a hangout spot. Flight attendants are on the clock and the galley is their workspace. That's like someone coming to your place of work to hang out. Whether you're starting or ending your vacation, remember that flight attendants are on the job. And some galleys aren't even that big to begin with. All right, we're on number 13, and that is touching or tugging on flight attendants' uniform to get their attention. Don't do that.
No, don't do it. Please don't do it.
Yes, planes can be loud, especially when sitting near the wings, but that doesn't mean tug on their clothes. If you tried to call a FA and they didn't hear you, just press your call bell. Next is being too comfortable. I know planes are not the most comfortable, but you should prepare yourself and pack things that would ease your comfort during your flight. Or you can purchase an upgrade option. This is ridiculous. Not only do these passengers make their neighbors uncomfortable, but when flight attendants ask to put their legs down and sit properly for safety reasons, some of them actually get defensive. Next is when passengers use the lavatory during drink service. The cabin aisle on some aircrafts is narrow, and there's no room to go around the drink cart. So these passengers end up blocking the aisle and must wait until drink service is complete to get back to their seat. Speaking of lavatory, the next flight attendant pet peeve is when passengers go to the lavatory with no shoes on. Even with socks on, this is disgusting, because guess where your germy feet are going? Eventually back into your shoes. And when flight attendants see this, they just think to themselves, I hope they know that's not just water on the floor.
Bruh.
Oh my gosh. Don't do it. Next is pressing the call bell way too many times. Yes, flight attendants are there to help and service us, but calling them for every little thing like a blanket, headphones, your fifth beverage, more snacks, extra meals, more water. Please be considerate, because you're not the only passenger on flight that they're responsible for. Next is handing over dirty diapers to flight attendants to discard. This is more of a 2-in-1 pet peeve. So not only handing dirty diapers to flight attendants to discard, but also putting them in a backseat pocket. Guess what? Backseat pockets are not sanitized after each flight. Nothing really gets sanitized after each flight. So please discard dirty diapers the proper way. The next FA pet peeve is when passengers pass trash to flight attendants when they're not collecting trash. If last call for trash was complete and you still have something to throw away, just take it with you when deplaning. There are plenty of trash bins throughout the airport and airport restrooms. Next is when passengers don't prepare for landing. At flight's initial descent, an announcement is made instructing passengers to stow tray tables, power off electronics, and bring seats upright, which gives everyone more than enough time to do this. But flight attendants still end up having to tell way too many passengers as they do their final walkthrough before landing. I feel like you only get a pass if you're sleeping, because flight attendants must wake you up if you need to do one or all of these things. Again, I'm not a flight attendant, so to any flight attendants watching this, feel free to chime in and add anything I missed in the comments. Help us help you. And hopefully this video will enlighten some travelers and they can take some of these things into consideration on their next flight. And if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. Also, if you enjoy pet peeve videos, check out my personal pet peeves. I have 3 videos, one for the airplane, one for the airport, and one for the hotel. And I'll have all 3 linked in my description. Well, as always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys!
Provocation, c'est ça qui commence la pagaille. Imitation, c'est ça qui commence la pagaille.